Good morning, students. This video is for class 3 maths, and today we will start the first chapter of your second unit, that is length. Now, this length, mass, and capacity, that is chapter number 7, 8, and 9, are related to each other. How they are related? I will first give you a table. Make sure everyone writes this table in their copy properly, because all this three chapter, length, mass, and capacity, you have to follow the table that I will be writing right now. So let us see first. Now, I have written this. So the first is length. When do we use this measurement of length? When we use to measure distance. Maybe a shorter distance, maybe a longer distance. But when we use to measure distance, we use kilometer, hectometer, decameter, meter, decimeter, centimeter, millimeter. When we use to measure liquid thing, water, milk, oil, we use this kiloliter, hectoliter, decaliter, liter, deciliter, centimeter, milliliter. And when we use to measure solid object, the weight of solid object, we use kilogram, hectogram, decagram, gram. See, the chart is same, Here you have meter, here you have liter, here you have gram. Otherwise, everything is same. You have to learn this chart according to how I have written it. I have written this from bigger unit to smaller unit. So the biggest is kilometer, and then you have kilo, then you have milliliter. So I hope you have understood. So the bigger one is meter, kilometer, and the smallest one is the millimeter. This is the arrangement of it. Now every gap is of 10. This every gap is of 10. No matter if it is length, capacity or quantity, every gap is of 10. Now each gap is of 10. Now if this gap becomes 2 gap, like from kiloliter to decaliter, that is 2 gap, you will multiply. So 10 into 10 is 100. So gap between 2 is 100, gap between 3 is 1000, gap between 4 is 10,000, like this. You will not add, in fact you will multiply. So every gap is of 10 each. So I hope you have understood. Every gap is of 10, no matter if you are measuring length, capacity or quantity. So these are concepts that you have to keep in mind when we will start with the exercise. This concept will come into play. This concept will help you to solve the sum. Now you have to learn this table. This is a table. You have to learn this table according to how I have written it. You cannot say kilometer, then meter, hectometer, millimeter, like this. You have to see the arrangement I have done. Kilometer, hectometer, because this is arranged from bigger to smaller. This is arranged from bigger to smaller. So you have to arrange in this pattern. You have to learn in this pattern. Now when they give you bigger unit, and they ask you to convert into smaller, from kilometer to maybe hectometer or maybe decameter or liter, means from big to small, if they say, you will multiply. And by how much will you multiply? You see the number of gap. So suppose if they give you from kiloliter to liter, you see 3 gap. That means whatever they give you, you will multiply by 1000. 3 gap means 1000. 1 gap is 10, 2 gap is 100, 3 gap is 1000, 4 gap is 10,000, 5 gap is 1 lakh. So every time you will multiply 10. And if they give you smaller unit and they ask you to convert into bigger unit, if they give you smaller unit and they ask you to convert into bigger unit, in that case you have to divide by the same. You will see number of gap, and according to that you will multiply, you will divide. So remember this, children. If they give you bigger unit and they ask you smaller unit, you will multiply. If they give you smaller unit and they ask you to convert into bigger unit, you will divide. So children, this chart is very important for all the 3 chapters that you have in your second unit syllabus. So please learn this table thoroughly, properly. Do not mix the place. You have to learn according to how I have written it. So I hope you have understood this. First you learn this. In the next class we will start with the chapter. So for today up to this much. Thank you, class.